Lost Tales. The story of White Huns or Hephthalites. The origin. A race of largely nomadic people appeared in Transoxiana, the grassland between the rivers Oxus and river Jaxartes, at the end of the 3rd century AD. At that time, they did not mix with other tribes, but, because they had a strong army and they were remarkably brave, they conquered more and more territories south of their settlements. They are referred to by many names. Swetahunas or Kidaritas in Sanskrit. Hephthalites or Hephthalites in Greek and Indo-European languages. Heitals in Armenian. And Heitals in Arabic and Persian. The Byzantine historian, Theophylactos Simacats, called them Hephthalites. While, according to the Chinese annals, the name of this people is Yitar-Lita because their ruler was called Yatha or Hephthal. The earlier Indian sources called them the Shunites or Zionites. However, all these different names refer to only one people. The White Huns or Hephthalites. Nobody can say with certainty which ethnic or racial group the White Huns belonged to, but certain assumptions can be made about them. So far as their physical origins, in Litvinsky's History of Civilizations of Central Asia, there is mention of Chinese sources, identifying them variously, with either the Cheshi, of Turfan, now in the Uyghur region of China, Kangchu or Kangju from southern Kazakhstan, or the widespread Yuezhi tribes from central China. These Yuezhi were driven out of the Chinese territories that they occupied, by another band of tribes, known as the Xiongnu. One of these tribes of the Yuezhi was the White Huns or Hephthalites. The various Hunnic tribes had long ago divided themselves into 4 groups along the cardinal points, each with a specific color. Black always indicates the more severe, northern region. White means the western. Green or blue means the southern. While red indicates the eastern territories. The northern Huns hence became the Black Huns. The White Huns were the western tribes. The green or blue were the southern. And the red Huns occupied the eastern territories. The fact that a so-called nomadic nation, like the Hephthalites, wanted to conquer the settled, wealthy peoples of ancient culture was understandable. The nomadic nations were stock breeders and agricultural people in the Bronze Age, according to the archaeological finds. However, because of the climatic change in Central Asia, their cultivated fields became steppes or even uncultivable deserts. At that time, they adopted the nomadic, pastoral way of life with their high degree of adaptation to the environmental possibilities. These harsh circumstances made them strong, brave warriors. Since they possessed only the products derived from stock breeding, and the exchange of these products did not cover their needs, sometimes they had to plunder the richer settled countries surrounding Central Asia. For them, war was almost a profession of livelihood. Initially, they obtained their booty or tribute from China, but the Chinese began to build walls as a protection against them. After that, the nomads wandered toward the west. One group of them occupied the Transcaucasian territories, while others migrated to the south into the small oasis states of Fergana and Sogdiana, and later to Bactria and Gondara. Finally, the fabulous India became the target of their conquests. They were slowly assimilated into the peoples of the occupied lands. Most of the tribes even settled there because they did not want to go back to the severe climate of the steppes or the deserts. Now let us look at some distinctive features of Hephthalites. Procopius of Caesarea 6th century CE is quoted multiple times across publications as giving the first physical descriptions of these people and their society in the following words. The Hephthalites are of the stock of the Huns in fact as well as in name, however, they do not mingle with any of the Huns known to us, for they occupy land neither adjoining nor even very near to them, but their territory lies immediately to the north of Persia, for they are not nomads like the other Hunnic peoples, but for a long time have been established in a goodly land. As a result of this they have never made any incursion into the Roman territory except in company with the Median army. They are the only ones among the Huns who have white bodies and countenances which are not ugly. It is also true that their manner of living is unlike that of their kinsmen, nor do they live a savage life as they do, but they are ruled by one king, and since they possess a lawful constitution, They observe right and justice in their dealings both with one another and with their neighbors, in no degree less than the Romans and the Persians. They acknowledged a single king, were not divided into tribes, had a proper constitution for everyday governance, and were considered just and fair by their neighbors. Their burial systems were also different from the well-known European and White Huns, as they buried their leaders in mounds of earth and stone with the companions who served them in life, showing also a different funerary culture and possibly different religious beliefs. Hephthalites and their kindred tribes. As we stated earlier, Hephthalites came to Transoxiana at the end of the 3rd century AD. The majority of researchers state that the Hunnites or the Huns joined the White Huns in Transoxiana. Other scholars theorize that the White Huns were the descendants of the Kushans, or as they are known in Persian, the Shan and Shahis, or the kings of the kings, living in Bactria and Gondar at that time. The Kushans were defeated by the Sasanians in 239 AD and became their vassals, yet they had relative independence. The Hephthalites confirmed the later opinion too, when, mainly in the first period of their conquest, they called themselves Shah and Shahis on their coins. They used the Greek script and the Bactrian dialect of the Persian language. They wanted to prove, by their coins, that they were the successors of the Kushans and that they could rightfully claim the occupied territories. The main body of the White Huns consisted of the Western Huns, who had separated from the Shunus. However, the Shunites and the Kushans of Bactria joined them as they hoped that, with the help of the Hephthalites, they could reconquer their East Iranian and northwestern Indian territories. The Kidarites, who also joined the White Huns, belonged to the later Kushans, too. So the Hephthalites and their kindred tribes, the Kushans, the Shunites and the Kidarites, arrived at the Indian border at that time. Paucity of records. Lost in the mists of time. This was the story of Hephthalites, but it is not over yet. In the next video we will look at the Hephthalite chronology. Lost Tales.